The first 6 months, even actually the first 3 months, I've always thought about quitting. But I would think about the high that I got after the endorphin high. And I was just happy. I was happy to be a part of something. I was happy to have friends that wanted me to actually be there and never talk bad about me. And so, like, it meant the world to me that I had a team that wanted to see me, that didn't talk bad about me, that encouraged me. And so that's what kept me going, is because I was a part of something bigger, and that's something I think everyone really wants in life, whether they know it right now or not. It's we all want to be a part of something great.
Christian, welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you, sir.
Well,
I'm glad to be
I
here.
tell you what, you've got an incredible story. I can't wait to share it with the audience or have you share it. I can't tell it like you can. But I'm going to first, you're a big fan of jujitsu. You're like what my friend said, there's nothing quite like the sensation of strangling your friends. Uh, how did you Well, let's back up. How did you get into jujitsu?
So how I got into jiu-jitsu was kind of not a traditional way. So on August 6th of 2020, I was 25 years old. I committed suicide. I was dead for about 2 minutes or so. An officer named Roger, he's a black belt over at Gracie Baja Springfield. He resuscitated me, gave me CPR. I believe he used an AED machine. I was very lucky he was there. He asked me why I would do such a thing. He didn't understand, like, because I'm from Chatham, Illinois. Chatham has about, at that point in time, 10,000 people, so everyone knew everyone. And so he always kind of knew me as a happy-go-lucky type person, and he just didn't get why I would do that. I told him, I was upwards to like 400 pounds. The scale capped off at 350. I talked to my mom later on. She said that I was, upwards to 400. And I told him, like, I was really fat. I was not happy. It hurt to walk. I worked in the medical field, so I was a behavioral health technician. So I'd helped kids. And so walking was a struggling thing for me. I never wanted to work out. I never really wanted to put forth the effort into losing weight, which is kind of, ironic because I wasn't happy being big. Um, Told him this, I had a lot of irrational fears, a lot of irrational insecurities. And I told him I felt like I had to lie to make friends, and which wasn't the case. But when you're insecure and stuff like that, you kind of just believe not true things, irrational things. And he told me to try jiu-jitsu. He goes, it's not like striking where you can get pretty good at it in a year. He goes, if they have a brown belt, purple belt, they usually have spent quite a lot of time in jiu-jitsu on the mats. A lot of these people are successful. A lot of them are business people. A lot of them own companies. A lot of them will get you in the right direction. He goes, make friends with that, or make friends with them. And he goes, if you don't like it, that's okay. But I feel like you should try to push yourself in a better direction, surround yourself with better people. So I did. I tried it 2 times. The first 2 times I quit. The third time I took off with it, and then I found pedigo submission fighting, aka Daisy Fresh. I lived in the laundromat for almost a year, give or take some time. And the rest is kind of history. It's where I am right now. I've lost 180 pounds and striving now. And that's how I got into jiu-jitsu. I met all these great people and just kind of do it full time now.
So, there's a lot to unpack there, but let me ask you, how tall are you?
6'1".
And how much did you weigh before, when you almost died?
So the scale that I had, it capped off at 350. My mom said that we went to the doctor at one point and I was around 405. I did not remember that. So for a while I was saying 350 pounds, but my mom said I was 405.
And how long ago was this?
So 2020, so now it's about 4 years, but I've done this sport for three.
Okay. And how much do you weigh now?
220.
220. So that's an incredible amount of weight loss. Uh, yeah, and you said you're hanging around with the wrong crowd, and you weren't very
Yes,
happy,
sir.
being you. What what were some of the activities you were doing? What was the kind of behavior, the kind of people you're around, um, and that led you into this depression?
So they weren't doing illegal things, like they weren't stealing, they weren't doing drugs, anything like that. But for the longest time, because I've hung out with them for so long, I thought friends talked bad about each other. And so they would always speak negative about me. They'd always put me down. I had for a while, I had an issue holding down a job. Nothing really made me happy. I was trying to find a place to fit in. But like something I ended up finding out down the road with my journey, for you to be able to fit in, you have to fit in with yourself. You gotta love yourself. And that was the issue. But they just talked bad about me all the time. They placed bets on how long I would be able to keep a job, stuff like that. And it made me feel really crappy. And then one time I was just tired and I was like, well, if this is what the best life has to offer me, I really don't want to live this life. And that was the thoughts going through my head when I, you know, inevitably took my life. Thank God it didn't go through, but that's what was going through my head because if this is what friendship is, I don't want any part of it. If this is what life has to like is in store for me or what it has, if this is what my future entails, I don't want a part of it. And so that's what led me to take that choice and take that action.
It's everybody. Nobody believes that it could happen to them, right? But it is very true that we become the people we hang out around the most, and nobody believes that. Like, everybody thinks that they're stronger than that they can overcome that kind of thing, and they can hang around with certain people or associate and not succumb to some of those temptations. But it's absolutely true that not only do we become like the people we hang out with, but you also start believing what they're saying and if they're putting you down, no matter how strong your willpower, how the strong the strength of your own beliefs, it's going to chip away over time, and nobody's immune. That's just part of our human coding. So, what was it like getting on the mat for the first time after that? And was it was that in itself a challenge, mentally, physically?
It was very much so. So the first two times I started, I didn't really have anyone to roll with. So for people that aren't familiar with jiu-jitsu, it is a sport where you're wrestling with submission. So you want someone your own weight to roll with because that like if you roll with someone that's a lot lighter than you, there's a higher probability of injury. And that's not always the case, but a lot of people have to be smart because there's competitions, all that. So the first two times I started, I didn't really have anyone to roll with. The guy that saved my life was quite a bit smaller than me. I believe right now he's weighing about 145 pounds, and I was 400. So like we couldn't really rep things together. It's kind of hard to maneuver someone that weighs that much more than you. And he was also prepping for competitions and stuff like that. So the beginning was very hard. The first two times were very hard. The third time I met my buddy. He's one of my best friends. I consider him my brother. He's a state cop in Chicago. His name is Kyle. He's wrestled since he was, I think, 5 or 8, and he was the reason why I stuck with it the third time. I had someone to drill with. I had someone to push me, and I think, as I got older and as I progressed in jiu-jitsu, I realized that I didn't. It wasn't that I didn't want to lose weight; it's I wanted someone there with me. I didn't want to do it by myself. My buddy Kyle is the one that pushed me. He told me that you're better than what you're doing, and so it was very hard. So at Gracie and Mida, training Chatham, at that point in time, we did warm ups. So you would like we would run first around the mat, which wasn't a lot, but it was a lot for me. I would throw up. I wouldn't get past the warm ups. Um, I would sit out for about 10 minutes after the warm ups, and then I would go back and drill. I couldn't roll for a while. I was just too big. It hurt my knees, and I just I didn't have the cardio. It was a lot. And then probably about 6 months into it, I was able to do the whole practice. So that first 6 months was very, very difficult. I couldn't do a lot of the things that they were doing. Even after the 6 months, though, I still couldn't do a lot of the movements because a lot of it's controlling your own body. I was still pretty big after 6 months. I've lost probably about 50 pounds in that 6 months. And then, once you start seeing results, it becomes highly addictive. And it's the same thing with working out. You start getting pumps, you start getting like muscle, it becomes addictive again. Um, so when that started happening, it became a lot easier. But the first 6 months, even actually the first 3 months, I've always thought about quitting. But I would think about the high that I got after the endorphin high. And I was just happy. I was happy to be a part of something. I was happy to have friends that wanted me to actually be there and never talked bad about me. Like when I got there, they were smiling, like, "Hey, Christian," like they're happy to see me. They weren't like the friends that I was going to back home, you know. And so like it meant the world to me that I had a team that wanted to see me, that didn't talk bad about me, that encouraged me. And so that's what kept me going, is because I was a part of something bigger, and that's something I think everyone really wants in life, whether they know it right now or not. It's we all want to be a part of something great.
That's the kind of peer pressure I like. Well, that first 6 months, though, there must have been challenging times. I mean, and frustrating moments. You might not have seen the kind of change that you wanted to. Were there moments there where you thought this isn't right for me, or I'm no good at this? Did you have doubts about the course you were on?
Um, yes, I for a little bit I did. So the biggest part in my journey that I would say that was the most pivotal and most important for me was cutting off those old friends that I had, or what I thought was friends. Once I got rid of them, and I think that was in probably the fourth month that I was doing the sport. I just cut them off. If I didn't make money in this sport, if I didn't inspire, because this is what I wanted to do, I wanted to start doing. I want to win, but what's more important for me is showing that anyone can do this sport, because I do think it brings people happiness. I do think that once you're a part of something great and you're part of a team that cares for you, happiness comes. You'll find happiness within yourself, because they will make you believe in yourself. Like, and it sounds dumb, like if you've never done this, but just try it, and it's it will change your life. But the fourth month mark for me was pivotal, because I cut them off. I didn't want any part of the negativity. They made me feel like I couldn't do the sport, even though when I went into the gym, I knew I could. I was getting better at it. I wasn't doing everything correctly, but compared to the first month I was there, I made leaps and bounds of progress. And so I knew I could do it. I knew, like, when I was there, I knew I could do it. But the moment I went home and started hanging around those crappy friends, that was when I started second guessing myself and saying I couldn't do it. So, but once I got rid of them, that I knew I could do it. I didn't realize that they were holding me back for so many years. I was friends with them. They were holding me back from doing anything I really wanted, because they told me that it doesn't pay well. You can't do that. You can't have a family with that. And so when I finally cut them off, I realized I can do anything I want in my life.
That group encouragement. It sounds like it was really essential for your progress, for your transformation. And was there? Well, so you said you recently competed in the Pan American Challenge or Championship. How'd you do?
Just so it was my first major. I was extremely nervous. I lost my first round. I've never weight cut before. Like, for people that don't know, there's how do I word it? There are weight limits, or like weight classes. There we go. So like I was in super heavy, so 222. Every competition I've ever done prior to this, I've never had to cut weight, because I weighed so much that they didn't have a weight class for me. So if you weigh 222 and above, you could go against someone that's 500 pounds. Like, there's no weight limit. So I was finally at a weight that I was comfortable to compete at. Um, and so like I never really cut weight. Like, I've lost weight, obviously, but cutting weight was a little difficult for me. And so that day of, I ran 4 miles to cut 3 pounds. Um, and when I was running that, I didn't. I was like, okay, I didn't come this far to come this far. Like, I'm gonna make the weight, and once I make the weight, well, the challenges after that will be different. But I'm not gonna not make the weight. I'm not gonna let Heath down, who's my coach right now. Um, and I'm just not gonna not make weight. So I ran the 4 miles, made the weight, went to compete, and I was about to win the match. I had a Kimura locked in. Kimura is a submission. It is the way you manipulate a shoulder. You could won't go into too much detail about that one, but I had it locked in. I was completely dehydrated, hadn't eaten the whole day, and I had my body locked up. So I ended up losing the points. I believe it was, I don't remember the points, but I lost my points. But needless to say, I'll be back next year. Now I know what I have to do to cut weight. Don't cut weight the day of. And then everyone kind of told me, unless you're going to get paid, don't cut the weight. Just compete at whatever weight you're at. But it was a learning curve.
I just flashing back to like middle school wrestling and wearing trash bags to sweat out and basically dehydrate yourself to make the weight class. And
Yeah,
it's like think of the most unhealthy way to get ready for a competition. But I totally understand. Sunflower seeds and whatever else you can do to get that the easy weight off.
yeah.
But that is an incredible transition, transformation from where you'd come from. Uh, I want to ask you. Besides the peer pressure, the encouragement, and the different group that you joined, right? The different circle of friends, and just following a healthy activity. Was there anything in your history, growing up, anything else that maybe you fell upon, lessons that you learned in the past that helped you, uh, you know, commit to, living a better life?
Um, so yes, it's not in the traditional sense. My father, his name is James, was not a very good person. He was abusive towards my mom, physically and sexually. Um, and I never really had a positive male influence until I met my coach, Heath Pedigo, who I train underneath now. And then my stepdad, who I consider my dad. His name is Sean. But my father, James, he taught me the things that I shouldn't do as a quote unquote as a man. Um, he showed me how I don't want to be. And so when I met my stepdad, who considered my dad, Sean, I didn't necessarily trust him because this man appeared out of nowhere, started dating my mom. He was a great guy. He showed me what a man how a man treats a woman. Um, but doing the sport, all I thought about was I did not want to be like my father. He was someone that quit every job, let a woman support him, let a woman pay for everything, And who is my stepmom? My stepmom is an amazing person. Her name is Dina. Extremely nurturing. I wish she wouldn't be with my father, but it is what it is. But I knew I didn't want to be like him, and so I never really had a positive role model because I didn't let my stepdad be a positive role model. He tried so hard. He tried very, very hard, but I just did not let him in my life. I was a I'm sorry for cussing, but I was a complete asshole to him. And it wasn't until later when I met Heath that I forgave my father, and then I let my dad into my life, stepdad. But like I didn't really have anything from my childhood that motivated me. I guess in a positive way. I had someone motivate me in a negative way to like, hey, I'm not ever going to be like this dude. You do everything the opposite of what this guy did, so that way you don't become who this person is. And so that was my motivation. I was like, I cannot be like my father. I cannot be like my father. And so I did everything opposite of what he did. I quitting everything that I started. And that was like my big motivator besides Kyle, who trained with me all the time. That third time, I refused to quit because I knew that's what James would have done, my father. So I was like, fuck this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to see it through. If I don't become a champion, whatever, I'll inspire some people, maybe inspire someone that changes the world. I'll see this through, and wherever I get is wherever I get. Like I didn't come this far to come this far. And so that's why I saw it through the third time. Had to be different.
Those are certainly some strong lessons. It's it's not enough to have an example of what not to do. Yeah, because we all need positive mentors, role models, teachers, coaches that show us what we're supposed to do, not what just what we're not supposed to do. So that's strong. Tell me, what else have you gained from what? Is there any other things that you've gotten out of jujitsu besides the weight loss and the camaraderie?
Um, I so I have a very difficult time about talking about this without like tearing up, and it's not a bad thing. I gained a person that doesn't quit on me. My coach Heath. Um, I'm not the best competitor, probably not ever going to be the greatest competitor, but he takes time. He takes time to talk to me. He takes time to, listen to my troubles, whatever. He's really taken on the father figure role, and he's done it for so many of us too. It's not just me. It doesn't matter if you can compete really well. He just wants you to try hard. He told me one time, we're talking about one of our an athlete that used to be a part of the team, and he goes, I create this environment for all these people, and him and I, we kind of have an inside joke. We call it Neverland because Mount Vernon is like a small little town, right, with 14,000 people right now. But like no one knows about it. But we can all just do jiu-jitsu full time, not have to work, not have to worry about anything else, and we can just fight. And obviously it's jiu-jitsu, not really fighting, but we can do this full time. And just having that person in my life that refused to quit on me, regardless of what I said or what I've done in my life, has meant the world. He's taught me to love myself from the inside, not just exterior stuff. It's all been interior. He's shown me that I deserve to feel loved, to feel like I am wanted. Because that's something I've always struggled with. Kind of go back to the beginning of the podcast or the interview. I always felt like I didn't fit in. He's gone out of his way to make sure I fit in. He's gone out of his way to make sure that I'm okay, that I'm feeling okay, that I have everything that I need. I'm now dating this wonderful woman. Her name's Allison. I would not be able to give her what I'm giving her right now. I would not be able to feel like I would be able to, or like to feel like I earned her love or I deserve her love if it was not for Heath. And so I wouldn't necessarily say that I've gained I guess I've gained stuff spiritually too because I now love myself. But I gained a role model that will always be important in my life. And he's amazing. Like he doesn't like having recognition for what he does. Like if you ever spoke to him, he'll kind of like nonchalant act like he hasn't done anything that's spectacular, even though he has. He's changed so many lives and continues to keep changing everyone's life. But I've gained confidence not just from the outside but from the inside, and that's something I've struggled with for the last 28 years of my life.
Is it safe to say you're an advocate for the sport?
Yes, very much so. I think jiu-jitsu will save a lot of people's life.
Yeah. My son for a while did the local Gracie gyms. What they call it, bully proof
Oh yeah.
program, and he's a pretty natural athlete, so he enjoyed it. But I guess he was more interested in lacrosse and running. But
People are crazy that like running.
you're not.
No, I don't. I like, so everyone's like, what do you do for cardio? And I was like, I just do jiu-jitsu. I don't like running.
What what do you do when you're not on the mat to prepare for when you are?
So recently, actually within the last 3 months, I became friends with this guy from Peru. He trains with us. We get a lot of foreigners from other like countries that will come and train with us because we have a documentary on YouTube. It's called A Daisy Fresh American Jiu-Jitsu Story. But this guy, his name's Franco. He told me that I should try meditating. I was like, well, I don't know if I'll be very good at it. And he goes, well, no one's really good at anything at their first try. He goes, just keep trying, and then eventually maybe you'll be good at it. And so that's what I do. I meditate. I meditate to see where I'm going to be at. What's my game plan? My plan A, my plan B, and my plan C. If everything goes south, what are you going to do? And so I'll meditate. I'll try to see what I'm going to do. See what if everything goes wrong. What is my answer to that? What if he gets to the first 2 points? So I meditate to see what I'm going to do. I also lift weights. I have a regiment that I do. My buddy Kyle, that's a state cop in Illinois. He has made me a workout program. Same with a guy named Chad. He has made me a workout program. So I do all these things. I've now started dieting. I've taken my diet a lot more serious. I've always kind of outworked a bad diet. I didn't eat crappy, but I also didn't eat great. So that has changed a lot. And so I really just prepare mentally more than anything because that's like the only thing that really changes when I'm prepping for a competition. Because I always work out, I always do like some sort of cardio, like if it's the rower or there's a new machine out there where like you pull down on it. I can't remember the ski machine. Um, I'll do those forms of cardio, but the only thing that really changes is I meditate every day. I see myself in that arena or wherever we're at the venue. And that's like the one thing I do that has changed, and it's helped a lot.
How about like to twin toddlers like to do just holding their breath competitions. Uh, but I would imagine something like free diving or something, lung capacity and uh,
Yeah,
wouldn't hurt. In fact, speaking of Gracie, there was a uh, who was it that wrote the book? It was just called Breathe. Uh,
I want to say it was Hickson.
yeah. Um, Anyways, that was a interesting accounting of the Gracie family and his experiences. Um, but that's it. It's not just about physically overpowering somebody, right? It's a huge uh, mental aspect to it, right? Being able to remain calm in uncomfortable positions and being able to breathe. And I think that's probably uh, one of the biggest draws for people because the jiu-jitsu in the last few decades, it's just been exploding. And there's a good reason for it. I think it helps in many aspects of people's lives. Have you seen, you've mentioned a few of them, but it certainly transformed your life, right? How
Yes.
has it affected you when dealing with other issues in your life, challenges, problems that come up? Do you find yourself stepping back and breathing a little bit and uh, being able to deal with life's challenges a little bit better?
Yeah. So something I noticed from the probably within the first year of doing this. I used to be very impulsive. When it came to money, we'll just go with something simple like that. I was really big into video games before I started jiu-jitsu. So like that was my main hobbies. Like I played video games all the time. I was very compulsive with what I bought. I didn't think of, oh, do I really need this? Like, or do I need to pay rent? And so now, like, even with something like as dumb as like trivial as that, like, you have to pay rent if you want to live. Um, I would buy a video game and then I'd be short on rent and then I have to struggle to get that money. Well, now I will sit back and I'll just think about, okay, so what's the pros and cons of this? And it sounds dumb, but like, when I tell people this, like I post on Instagram all the time, I didn't really grow up until I hit 25. I didn't really have anyone that didn't quit on me when I was ready to learn. Like I didn't have anyone that wanted to teach me because for some reason, I don't know if it's because I was stuck at that in my 8-year old self. Because when you do experience trauma like that, you tend to not grow up until a later state. I did do a lot of therapy, and eventually I was ready to grow up, and I'll kind of keep it at that. But I didn't start thinking about what I was going to do before I made a decision until I started doing jiu-jitsu, because if you react instead of thinking right off the bat, you sometimes get caught in a submission. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you'll end up in a scramble, but then you're wasting all this energy to get in a position that you probably could have gotten in with using less energy if you just would have thought it out. And so that's why, like, almost every day I do that now. I think back with like, okay, so if I do this, what is this going to lead me to? Is this like instant gratification, or what is this? So if I wait, like, will it be like, how do I word it? If I wait, will the gratification be a better payoff in the long run? And so I try not to do instant gratification anymore. I will think about my problems and I will make sure I have a solution, make sure it's a responsible solution. I will talk to like my significant other, Allison. I'll make sure that she's okay with it. I used to not do that either when I was a boyfriend with my previous relationship. I would just do what I wanted. Um, and so, like, just stuff with that with life, like, it's made me more patient with everyone. I used to be a really angry person. When you realize, and it sounds dumb, but when you realize that you're really not that great of a fighter, your anger goes down a little bit. That ego isn't really there anymore. When you realize, oh crap, if I just mouth off, they're going to beat me up. Those anger issues usually pretty much go away, or you just don't do jiu-jitsu. But either way. Um, so it's just really made me more calm. It's made me breathe, like what Hickson said when he wrote that book. It's given me patience. You just wait something out, think it through, and see what happens.
Yeah, calm yourself, have patience, assess the situation and try to find solutions. And it's like when life is trying to put you in a rear mounted choke, how to counter that. Here's how you counter life's arm bars. Uh, so now you're helping others. You're training as well. Uh,
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So now, it's actually recent. Paul Jiu-Jitsu outlet. He's given me a kind of a platform to talk on. It's actually reached a lot of people. I didn't really know how well it would do. I didn't really like. I just wanted, I wanted something to break the ice because I get nervous when I'm on camera. Um, and so he gave me a platform to reach out with other people. A lot of people have reached out to me. I've posted on, there's this Facebook group called BJJ Fanatics. There's also a website called BJJ Fanatics where you can buy instructionals. Well, the group is where you can post, like, if you won something or like questions. Well, I use the platform to show my weight loss. I tried it because I noticed, I think there was one day, so it wasn't my first year doing jiu-jitsu. I was looking to see what kind of clientele Fanatics had because I knew what the website was. And, he's buying instructionals, learn moves from like Gordon Ryan, some of the best people. Heath Pedigo, my coach. Um, I looked at the clientele, and some of them haven't started yet. And so I posted my weight loss. The first time I posted it, I had like 4,000 likes. And like a lot of people reached out to me. And I didn't have anything at that point in time to be able to help them because I just wanted to show everyone that you can do it. Now I have workout programs they can do, stuff that they can eat. I now have advice to give them because so not to kind of go off topic a little bit, but like I train at Pedigo Submission Fighting, and what this place is you can train full time. I'm now surrounding myself with great athletes, people like Michael Pixley, Alejandro, Heath Pedigo, Jacob Couch. They've all given me great insight of what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat, what workouts you should do. So none of these are like actually my own stuff. Like I don't charge anyone for it. It's like, hey, here's what you should do. Just my advice from like some of the great people that have won ADCC trials, people that are competing in the trials. Trials is a huge accomplishment if you win that. Kudos to Jacob Couch, you won that. Um, so these people will message me for like diet information and stuff like that, and so I help them through that. Help them, like a lot of people talk to me on Messenger about the issues they're having, and so I'll just listen to them. So that's really the way I'm reaching out and helping these people is just trying to be there, show them that they can do this, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I want to win pans is to show that you can be some 400-pound self-made victim that I thought I was, because I wasn't a victim. I just made myself feel that way. And you could do all this and accomplish so many great things if you just stay determined and focused.
Absolutely correct, and that's true for anything. So, what advice would you have for someone who was considering but just hasn't gotten off the fence yet? How would they get started? Or do you have any arguments or counters to their excuses?
Don't wait to get in shape. Like, um, there's never a great day to start. I think Joe Rogan said the best time to start was 10 years ago, and the best time to start is now, or something like that. I can't remember the exact quote, but he said something like that. And it's true. Like, I wish I started 10 years ago, but I started 3 years ago. You know, we all start somewhere. Every gym is going to be pretty good. Every gym is going to be great for you to start off at, though. Like, you don't need to go to a competition school right off the bat. And if that's what you have, it's even great too. You don't have to, progress to a different school if needed. Like, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes people don't want to compete, and that's great. Use jiu-jitsu for the moral values. Use jiu-jitsu to do what I'm doing now, which is, breathing before you make an impulsive decision. Jiu-jitsu, you don't have to compete and you don't have to be great at it. Eventually you will be decent. Maybe you won't be great, but you'll be decent. But like, take the life values that you can learn on the mats. And it sounds dumb. Like, it sounds like, oh, what is it? Like, I'm like selling some bad medicine or whatever. Like, no, it really is. It helps a lot of people. And training at Pedigo, like, everyone has a story. I'm just willing to speak up about it. Everyone, like, there's more people that come from a worse spot than I have. Like, I'm not special. Like, none of us are. Like, you get to see your dreams through. You don't get to fail. None of us are special. So, like, I would just tell them to start. pay for your first month. Don't do the trial. Pay for your first month. One of the reason why I stuck with it that third time is I paid for those 3 months. So he didn't let me pay for a month. And I actually appreciate Mark for this. He was my old coach. Gracie Almeida and Chatham. Go if you want to go see a good gym. They're a pretty decent gym. Um, I paid for the first 3 months. He goes, I really want you to stick with this. He goes, pay for the 3 months, see it through, and then after those 3 months, if you don't like it, I'll refund you your money. I was like, okay. So I paid for 3 months, stuck with it, and it became addictive. I'm not saying pay for 3 months at all. You might not like it. It's okay. But I think 3 months is the mark where it becomes addictive, especially if I started off at 400 pounds and couldn't do much. I think that that's a good basis to jump off of to say, hey, this is when it's going to get addictive and this is when you're going to like it. It might be less time for you, but for someone that's bigger and someone that can't do a lot, I think 3 months is where you're going to start seeing the results and you're going to love it.
I forget who wrote it. There's a book called Too Fat to Fish. It was a comedian. I think it was. Uh, and it was, there's really no good excuse for not taking charge of your life, right? And uh, you can't be too big, too small for jujitsu, right? It's a martial art designed for everybody, and like for you, and I'm still kind of curious about how the weight is coming off, is coming off. Uh, it's not just on the mat in the gym, or, or is it? Or and you said you're not a big fan of running. Uh, what are some of the activities you're doing that is burning the calories, or is it just all grappling on the mat?
So now I'm pretty physically fit. Not the greatest like specimen out there, but my first 100 pounds, my first 150 probably was nothing but jujitsu. Like, and I swear on that. I swear on my mama. Like everything, like it was jujitsu. I didn't do anything. Like I ate like crap. But like, and that's not for someone that is starting off at 250 pounds. Like, please know that if I had the fat to lose, I had the weight to lose. You might not be able to do just jujitsu. I was extremely obese. Like I was big. I can't stress that enough. I was really big. So when I lost 150 pounds, know that I had it to lose. Someone that's starting off at 280, you might lose 30 pounds just doing jujitsu. I really didn't realize, well, hold on, how do I word this? I really didn't start dieting really well until I hit about 250, 240, and that's why I keep using that remark. If you start at 250 pounds, you might not just be able to do jiu-jitsu to lose weight. You might have to add other stuff into it. So I really didn't start lifting weights, doing other form of cardio until I hit about 250, and I started taking the sport a little bit more serious with competing. Like I was always serious about the sport, but I was not serious about competing until I moved to Pedigo. I moved to Pedigo around 270, 280, still did jiu-jitsu, just no weightlifting. And then once I hit 250 was when I realized, okay, I have to add some other stuff into this because these dudes are strong. There's levels to the sport. There always will be levels to the sport. And then when I started lifting and all that, everything else started burning with it, and I started losing more weight faster. Um, so that first 100, 150 pounds, it was strictly jiu-jitsu. I also firmly believe the people you surround yourself with can help you lose weight because I do believe that stress and stress eating is a very common thing for a lot of people. And if you're less stressed and don't have crappy people around you, we're not going to eat. Because when I was depressed, I ate. I ate all the time. When I was stressed, I'd eat. Like eating was a huge coping mechanism for me. And so I believe if you surround yourself with great people, start jiu-jitsu, I feel like your weight will melt off. But it was just jiu-jitsu for my first 150 pounds. Now I eat relatively well. I still eat a piece of cake every now and then. But adding the gym and everything like that has helped a lot too.
You really have to take a 360-degree look at your health and fitness. It's not just about the calorie burn, but the calorie intake as well. And
Yes.
I once lost over 50 pounds just by leaving college and not living on beer and pizza, and joining the military. So reduced calorie intake and increased calorie burn. But
It's that simple too. Like these people, like so I'm big on social media. Like I'm kind of addicted to social media. These people like advertise these diet plans, and like you don't need that. Like it's simple. My dad's always taught me it's simple math. My stepdad, I'm sorry. He's always taught me it's simple math. You burn more than you intake. He goes, you're trying to gain muscle? We'll go a little bit more in depth with how much protein you should take in. But to lose fat, you burn more than you consume. That's all there is.
It's funny. Yeah, it's true. There's so many programs out there, health, diet, fitness programs. And while, yeah, a lot of it is beneficial, we all know what we need to do to have a healthy body. You Somebody said, I have this very easy diet plan. It was eat a healthy breakfast in the morning, eat a healthy lunch in the afternoon, eat a healthy dinner at night, and then I do something active each day, and that's all I have to do, and I maintain a pretty healthy living. Um, so, uh, for you, what's next? What are your goals? What's on the horizon for you?
I want to win for my coach. And he's always told me he's proud of me no matter what, as long as I'm doing good in life. I want to win for him. So I'm going to start taking my training to the next level. I kind of touched base a little bit. I was addicted to social media. I've deleted Facebook, like the app, and I've deleted Instagram, the app. My accounts are still up, so that way people can still see my story and still, like, if they need inspiration, they can go to it. But my training is about to take off. I want to win. I want to win for him. A lot of people, especially if someone like is watching this and they do jujitsu and they know what pedigo is, the whole reason why we do this is for this man, and it's for Heath. This man has sacrificed so much of his time. He started the sport when he was 8 years old after watching UFC one, or I think that's what it was. With it was one of the Gracie brothers that fought. He loved it. Started doing jiu-jitsu. Doesn't party, doesn't drink, doesn't do drugs. Never done that. When I asked him why, he goes, "I'm a mean person." He's not mean whatsoever, by the way. So I think he's kind of full of crap, but whatever. But he's never done any of that because he wants to be great, and he sacrificed all this time for us, and now all we want to do is pay it back to him. So I want to win pans. I was dumb and wait to cut 3 pounds a day of, and so I want my, not necessarily revenge, but I want my time to shine. I want to win for him, and so that's what my next goal is I'm going to win pans.
Continue to put yourself around people who are going to help bring you up. That's fantastic, and bringing others up along the way. Well, Christian, I really applaud your journey, the transformation, your dedication to living a better life and helping others do it as well. Is there is there anything I haven't asked you that I should have?
Not really, sir. I've kind of touched base on everything that's really transformed me. Like, and like the kind of thing I want to add to is if you try jujitsu and it's not for you, that is okay. I do believe that we all need to do a martial art of some sort. I believe that we all should learn how to protect ourselves, our family, our loved ones. And if it's not jujitsu, that is okay. Like, jujitsu is not for everyone. I did Muay Thai for 4 years before I started doing jiu-jitsu. I loved Muay Thai, but I didn't, like I told you prior and how I told everyone on the podcast, I quit everything. There's other things that like jiu-jitsu is not for everyone, but please find something that makes you happy, because something Heath has told me, he goes, if this shit doesn't make you happy, why the fuck are you doing it? He goes, life is way too short to be anything but happy. So if you're not happy doing what you're doing, find something that makes you happy. If you can't quit your job, and obviously I'm not saying quit your job, but like if you're not happy with what you're doing, find something outside of your work that makes you happy. Do something for you. Take time for yourself, because mental health is big, and it's kind of sad that we don't take it very serious. I live in the state of Illinois. The state of Illinois can care less what your mental health is. The budget here is awful. I used to work for a lot of the state facilities with mental health. I don't know what other states are. I'm not educated on that part of other states. But please take your mental health seriously, because if you're not doing yourself any good, you won't be good to anyone else, especially if you have kids. Please take time for yourself.
Excellent point. Jiu-jitsu can't fix everything. It's just a really good activity for many, many reasons, but it's not going to be it's not the end all be all solution to life's problems.
I think it's just surrounding yourself with better people.
Yeah, very true. Well, Christian, If anybody wants to learn more about you, contact you, how do they find you?
So on Instagram, my Instagram handle is no match medalist. Um, and then Facebook is Christian Maddox. If you can't find me, put Mount Vernon, Illinois as my location. My Facebook is public. I'm not on there right now, so if you send me a friend request, I cannot answer it, but my Facebook is public for everyone to see. So, but like I said, I'm taking my training more seriously, but everything has been posted. Paul, who runs Jiu-Jitsu Outlet, posts a lot of stuff for me, like with our little snippets on our interviews and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things I'm tagged in. If you guys want inspiration, follow Pedigo Submission Fighting. Look at the Daisy Fresh documentary. Again, I am not special. I'm willing to talk about what I've gone through. But if you look at the Daisy Fresh documentary, there's a bunch of people that are struggling just like how I was. And we found this man, Heath Pedigo, and he's brought all of us up. But that's how you can find me. Also find Daisy Fresh, Pedigo Submission Fighting.
Awesome. We'll make sure to get those links in the show notes. Christian, I really appreciate your time sharing your story. And like I said, I applaud all that you've done for yourself and how you turned your life around. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, sir.